Hello students, welcome to Sriram's IAS. Welcome to this very important class. This is about Enforcement Directorate and what the Supreme Court thinks about the Enforcement Directorate in the recent case. Recently, Enforcement Directorate has raided the office of Tasmac. Now, Tasmac is a corporation. It's a company registered under the Companies Act. It's a company registered by the Tamil Nadu government, and the offices of Tasmac has been raided by the Enforcement Directorate. Now the question comes here is, how can you register a case against a corporation, against a company? It can be done against the individuals, but why against a company? That's the first point. Second point, Supreme Court has raised concerns that the ED is going against the federal structure of the country. So let us discuss these 2 points in our class and see what has happened. Now this Tasmac is under question. Now what does this Tasmac do? Tasmac is actually a state monopoly that operates about 7,000 liquor outlets in Tamil Nadu. तो किस तरह से ये liquor outlets को handle करता है? Wholesale में, retail में, सारी चीजों पर it has the monopoly. Okay. It is also responsible for marketing of liquor in the state of Tamil Nadu. And some scam was going on which involved politicians. A scam of about 1,000 crore rupees was going on in this. Police authorities of Tamil Nadu knew about it. That is the reason why the police authorities has lodged around 41 FIR against different individuals. पर फिर वहाँ ED आ जाता है and ED raids the whole corporation, the office of the corporation headquartered in Chennai, and takes all the material which is available there, all the laptops, all the mobile phones, everything. Now the question comes, how can you register a case against a corporation? That is one fundamental question which has been raised by the Supreme Court. Now what kind of 1,000 crore rupees scam is going on? पहले ये दिल्ली में हुआ liquor scam type वाला, अभी तमिल नाडु में निकल के आया liquor scam. What is this liquor scam? What is actually happening? So overcharging of the Tasmac shop. Now ये सब कौन करता है? The individuals who are sitting in positions in the Tasmac. They are doing all these things. Overcharging of the Tasmac shops. Kickbacks being offered by distillers to Tasmac officials. Officials who are individuals. So the cases must have been registered against the individuals, against the officials, not against the corporation itself. That is the point of the Supreme Court. Bribery involving senior Tasmac officials and retail outlets. So सारी चीजें तो हो रही हैं. Kickbacks दिए जा रहे हैं, bribery हो रही है, overcharging हो रही है, transfer और posting of staff, इसमें भी बहुत लंबी चौड़ी bribery चलती है, which is happening in Tasmac. तो उन्हीं के वकील बोले हैं भाई 1,000 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो रहा है, स्कैम हो रहा है, and political entities are involved in this, and that is the reason why police are lodging FIR, and 41 FIRs have already been lodged. So there was no meaning of ED coming in and charging or raiding the office or the corporation. Moving forward, let's see what the Chief Justice of India Gawai has said. Justice B.R. Gawai has told that you may register cases against individuals, but corporations, that is questionable. Okay, ED is passing all limits. And second important thing, it is crossing limits because it is violating the federal structure in the country. Now we know about the federal structure of India. We are a quasi-federal state. The federating units in India are the states. They have a constitutionally established government. They have the head of the state who is a governor, and there are lists consisting item. The lists are given in 7th schedule. The items on which state governments, items on which the legislature of the state can legislate upon. So a great autonomy is given to the state legislature, and ED is just going and thrashing into the corporation, into the company of the state government. That is against the federal structure of the country. So that is the whole case in a nutshell. Now ED has been in news from a very long time. It has been involved in so many cases, and it has been alleged as a political tool which is used by the political establishment in the central government against the political parties. If you see, In several years, starting from 2023 till 2025, there have been several raids which are conducted by ED, several cases which involved politicians of the opposition party such as Sanjay Singh of AAP, Anil Deshmukh of NCP, Balaji of DMK, and Malik of NCP, and Hemant Soren of JAM. These are political parties which are not aligned with the ideology of the present establishment, and it has been alleged that ED is used as a political tool against the opposition parties. Now, what has happened? If you see Sanjay Singh's case, we will take this example. Allegation was in the Delhi liquor policy that he has run a scam under the Delhi liquor policy. What was the outcome? Supreme Court has granted bail in April 2024, and it has said that there was no direct money trail which can be found. No direct money trail which is linking Sanjay Singh with the scam. Now moving on, why it's considered a overreach? Because it arrested without evidence of money laundering. So if you do not have the evidences of money laundering and still you are going out and arresting a person, that simply means you have been given too much power and there is no check on your power. That is where the Supreme Court enters in, saying that it is crossing all the limits. Now this was the, it was the incident which has broken the horse's back, as they say. Why the role of ED was questionable? Because of the reason that Supreme Court questioned ED's evidence and it has damaged the credibility of the probe, and that has happened in so many other incidences, so many other cases. If you see, arrest was upheld but medical custody was questioned. Here, bail after 17 months were given, charge sheet was delayed considerably, prolonged detention seen as punitive. ED failed to timely prosecute the politician. This has happened so many times. That is the reason why it is said that ED is overreaching its jurisdiction. Now, there is another interesting thing about Enforcement Directorate. The conviction rate, the kind of cases which are filed by the ED are great in number, but the conviction at the end of the trial which are happening is less than 1%. So if you can see here, 5,297 cases have been filed, and only 43 of them, out of this 5,297, only 43 can reach the trial stage. And out of these 43, there were 40 convictions and 3 were acquittal. So the conviction rate was 93%. But think about the situation. All the resources of the state have been involved in filing these cases, in making raids, in doing all the activity which ED is doing, and only 43 can reach to the trial stage. That is a very problematic situation. That is why the allegation comes that ED has been used against the political opponent. Go and file a case against a political opponent because of something, because of anything. Any ground can be taken up, any financial ground can be taken up. And then when the political opponent is aligned with your ideology or submits to whatever demands you have, then you can withdraw the case. And that is the reason why out of all these cases, there are only 43 trials which are completed. Compare it with the offences under the Indian Penal Code. 57% of conviction rate. Means the number of cases, if they are filed, 100 cases are there, 57 have been convicted. And in the ED cases, out of this, only 40, that is even less than what, 0.5% or even less than that. So this is what the Minister of State of Finance has said in the Rajya Sabha. His statement is very important. In the last 10 years, as many as 193 cases against politicians have been registered by the Enforcement Directorate. Most of the cases are registered against the corporate people, against the politicians. So, in the last 10 years, 193 cases have been filed against the politicians. Okay, in which only 2 convictions have been made. Only 2 convictions have been made. That is the statement given by the Minister of State for Finance in Rajya Sabha. So that is the sorry state of affair with Enforcement Directorate. It has all the power to arrest, to seize the materials, to seize the bank accounts, to stop the person from doing whatever activity the person was doing, and it has extensive rights and extensive powers under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act or the Fugitive Economic Offender Act, and also against the Foreign Exchange Act. But how it is used, the intentions behind those powers are questioned every now and then. Now, this is also one very important figure if you would like to see, 2 crore rupees bribe. There was a ED officer, senior ED officer, who have been accused of corruption of 2 crore rupees bribe. We should also keep in mind that ED दूध का धुला नहीं है. Officials sitting in ED are not pure people, are not saintly in nature. So, ED was formed in 1956. It was formed as a enforcement unit under the Economic Affairs Department, and later on in 1957 it got its present name, Enforcement Directorate. Okay, and it derives power from so many acts. 2018 Act, Financial Fugitive Economic Offenders Act, and Prevention of Money Laundering Act of 2002, FEMA Act of 1999. So it drives extensive amount of power from all these acts. There are more acts, but these three are the prominent ones. And the main focus of Enforcement Directorate is on financial crimes such as money laundering and foreign exchange violation. Okay. And it is accused to be used as a political tool. Now see what is written here. ED has extensive power to investigate and act against individuals violating enforced laws, including special powers for confiscating disproportionate assets. We're talking about disproportionate assets and their confiscation. So this is the kind of power which ED holds. It can confiscate the disproportionate assets under PMLA Act. And the major laws involved which extends the power of ED are the FEOA and the other acts which we have already seen, FEMA and PMLA. Okay, so it can investigate, it can act against individuals, but this time the ED has acted against a corporation, Tasmac, which is in question here. So it is going beyond your jurisdiction. Supreme Court has stopped it from doing so. Now there is a little comparison between the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation. The year of formation were different. This ED was formed in 1956 as Enforcement Unit we have seen, and this was formed in 1963 under the Delhi Special Police Act of 1946. So it's a, this is a statute, it's a law passed by the Parliament, and this body, Central Bureau of Investigation, has been made under this. The legal basis of Enforcement Directorate is that it draws power from so many acts, as we have seen, PMLA Act, FEMA Act and Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. This comes under Ministry of Finance, and the Central Bureau of Investigation comes under the Ministry of Personals. Their main focus is financial crimes, and Central Bureau of Investigation is a more broader organization which has so many focuses such as corruption, economic offences and special crimes. And this has been accused of, both of them have been accused in one or the other way as a political tool in the hands of the political establishment. Now, admissibility of statements under PMLA, this section number 50 is always questioned, that whatever statement you make in front of the police is not admissible in the court of law. But under section number 50, that is not true of the PMLA Act. It allows the statement made to the ED officer to be admissible in the court of law. But there has been a clarification which has been given by the Supreme Court, that courts have ruled that the statements made while in custody, especially those which are incriminating ones, are not admissible. One more thing is there, that if a person is in the custody of the ED officers and the person is making any statement against another person, That is also not admissible. See what Article 20 clause number 3, sub clause number 3 tells. This is under the fundamental right. Article number 20 talks about three important things: post de facto law, double jeopardy, and self-incrimination. Now the word self-incrimination is that any person cannot be forced to give evidences against himself. But section 50 of the PMLA Act allows for it. And it has been in question, but it has been toned down by the judiciary over a period of time. So see, kind of extensive power which has been given to the Enforcement Directorate, and that extensive power has been used by the Enforcement Directorate to go and raid the premises of Tasmac. Now, it can be done. The ED officers can lodge FIRs and complaints and charges against individuals, but doing it against a corporation becomes a issue. And there is where the Supreme Court has picked up the whole case, that ED is working against the federal structure of the country. ED is crossing its limit when it is going and raiding the corporation made by the state government. So this was the news in a nutshell. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.